Dakota Johnson breaks the silence. He knows me so well. Paris, November 2025. The sky is gray and quiet, but inside the softly lit suite at the Hôtel Lutetia, Dakota Johnson sits by the window, barefoot, wearing a simple ivory sweater. The world is still buzzing about Jamie Dornan's interview, the one in which he revealed her annoying habits and hinted at his dream wedding. For days, her name has been a hot topic. Annoying habits. Dakota's silence. Jamie's confession. But now, Dakota is ready to speak up. And she does so not like a movie star, but like a woman who has weathered storms, both on screen and off. I didn't laugh at first. Dakota began, her voice almost a whisper. When I first saw the headline, I didn't laugh. Everyone laughed. My friends texted me, sent me memes about biting their nails or not replying to texts. But to me, it was personal. She looked out the window, the Paris rain drawing faint lines on the glass. Jamie knows me. He knows what those little things mean. They're more than just habits, they're my defense mechanisms. I bite my nails when I'm nervous. I forget to reply when I'm overwhelmed. I guess that's how I get through all this noise. There was no bitterness in her voice, just the understanding that comes from years of friendship. He's not wrong, she added, smiling slightly. He just makes the truth sound more appealing. A relationship that never fades. For nearly a decade, Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson have forged one of Hollywood's most passionate on-screen romances. The chemistry that defined 50 Shades of Grey endures, discussed in interviews, analyzed in fan edits, preserved in TikTok slow-motion videos that never fade. But Dakota insists their relationship was never just a movie. What people see on screen is fiction. What we had behind the camera was real friendship, real trust. We went through things together that were so vulnerable that you can't explain to anyone who wasn't there. She recalls long nights on set, tears after difficult scenes, laughter as a release after months of pressure. We were so young, so vulnerable. Everyone had an opinion about us, about our bodies, our emotions, about our so-called relationship. Sometimes I would come home and cry. And then Jamie would call, just to check in to see if I was okay. He didn't have to, but he always did. Her voice trembled slightly. He was my rock when I was completely lost. I think he saw a part of me that I didn't want anyone else to see. Asked if Jamie's comments about her habits hurt her, Dakota shook her head. No, because he wasn't making fun of me. He was remembering me, and that's different. She took a breath before continuing. Jamie saw me at my worst. When I was scared, when I doubted myself, when I didn't want to come on set. He saw the version of me that wasn't glamorous or calm, the one who bit her nails, showed up late, and hid behind sarcasm. And somehow, he made that version whole. She paused, searching for the right words. When someone sees you that clearly, and still chooses to be kind, it stays with you. Forever. Love, timing, and things that could never happen. The inevitable question arises, did she ever love him? Dakota's smile slowly turns thoughtful. Love is complicated. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you expect. There was, and still is, a deep love between us. But love isn't always about possessing or being attached. It's about understanding. She admits that in the 50 Shades of Grey years, there were moments when reality and fiction blended together. You spend years pretending to love someone, and then at some point, you forget where the pretending stops. You start caring about them, even when you shouldn't. After a moment of silence, she added softly. But times are tough. He has a family. I have walls. So we just keep moving forward, separately, but there's always an invisible thread between us. The dream wedding, and the hidden message. When the interviewer mentioned Jamie's dream wedding, the barefoot beach dream, Dakota finally laughed, her voice soft and almost nostalgic. That's Jamie, she said. He's a poet, but he doesn't admit it. Maybe he imagines Norah Jones playing music while he drinks Guinness on the sand. Then, after a moment of reflection, she added something surprising. I think what he's describing isn't a wedding. It's peace. He's been pursuing peace for a long time. Maybe we both have. She looked down, lightly brushing the rim of her teacup. And who knows, somehow, we'll always be a part of each other's dreams, even when we're not together. Memories never fade. As the conversation deepened, Dakota shared rare memories from the final days of filming 50 Shades Freed. The last scene we did together, the wedding scene, was so emotional. Not because of the movie, but because we both knew it was the end of something we had built together. We couldn't talk about it. We just looked at each other and understood. She remembers Jamie whispering, "We did it," before leaving the set for the last time. He smiled at me, and I felt like he was saying goodbye to a chapter of our lives. I still remember the smell of the air that day. It was raining, just like today. Fame, isolation, and quiet truths. Dakota leaned back, her voice thoughtful. People think fame makes you strong. But mostly, it makes you lonely. You start to wonder what part of you is real and what part belongs to the image the world creates. Jamie, she admits, is one of the few people who can see through that image. He called me out when I was hiding. One time, at a press conference, I was having a panic attack. Everyone thought I was being difficult. Jamie noticed, sat down next to me and said, "You don't have to smile right now." That meant a lot. Her voice drops. In this business, people only care about the show. But Jamie cares about the people. The silence between them. After 50 Shades, their paths diverged, Jamie with new roles, Dakota with independent films. For a while, they didn't speak to each other. We needed space. We were so attached to those characters. Every conversation was like seeing ghosts. But silence, she admits, never means indifference. Sometimes silence is the truest form of love. You step back because you want the other person to breathe. Then, almost in a whisper, she says, "Listening to his interview, I felt like I was listening to a part of my old life. The part one missed the most." Healing and forgiveness. Dakota has been open about her growth since then, as a woman, as an artist, and as someone learning to forgive herself. For a long time, I was angry at myself for not knowing what I wanted, for being too reserved, too afraid to love fully. But now I realize that every relationship, even the seemingly impossible ones, teaches you something about yourself. She admits that she still has a small box of mementos from her 50 Shades years. A Polaroid, a note from Jamie, and a silver keychain. I don't know why I keep them. Maybe because they remind me that I once had real feelings, and that's rare in this world. We're different people now. When asked if she and Jamie still talk, Dakota hesitates before nodding. Sometimes, usually about work or family. But always warm, always respectful. There's a quiet understanding that no one else can share. She smiled dreamily. We've both changed. He's a father, I'm still figuring out who I want to be. But the care is still there. It always will be. Then, with a hint of humor. And yes, I still don't text him back on time. Some habits are hard to break. The confession that made waves online. As the interview drew to a close, Dakota fell silent. Her eyes twinkled slightly. You know, people like to make up stories about us. They want a happy ending, a scandal, a secret. But the truth is so much simpler, and so much harder. She sighed, her voice trembling. We loved each other, in our own way. Maybe not the way everyone wanted. But enough to remember. Enough to still care. Enough to smile when we talked about each other. A tear rolled down her cheek, but she didn't wipe it away. That kind of love doesn't need a wedding. It just needs sincerity. Epilogue. 2 souls, 1 unfinished story. As she stood up to leave, Dakota glanced at the tape recorder on the table and said quietly, "Tell them I am happy for him. Tell them he deserves peace. And tell them that sometimes the hardest goodbyes are the ones you never say out loud. Outside, Paris was glowing in a light drizzle, the same kind that fell on the set of 50 Shades. Somewhere on the other side of the world, Jamie Dornan might be watching the rain, remembering the woman who bit her nails, laughed too hard, and turned fiction into painful reality. Because some stories never end. They just grow quieter, until a song, a title, or a memory brings them back to life.